Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Fatma Lestari from Faculty of Public Health, Universitas Indonesia, and also the head of Disaster Risk Reduction Center, Universitas Indonesia. In this talk, I would like to share about COVID-19 prevention and control in Indonesia. The agenda today is to share about the background, the collateral damage of COVID-19 pandemic, and also to share about the public policy, Indonesia public policy, and how we adopted international health regulations and framework, and also how Indonesia mitigation changes in society and business approach, as well as how Indonesia experience at national and selected provinces level. So this is the background about the collateral damage of COVID-19 pandemic. Let's refresh our memory with some general data about the virus. And this is the data as of 1st of August 2021. More than 220 countries have been impacted of the COVID-19 pandemic. The worldwide cases is more than 198 million cases of COVID-19 pandemic. And with that is more than 4 million deaths. While in Indonesia, confirmed cases as of 1st of August is more than 3,440,000 cases, while the recovered case is about 2.8 million. And the deaths are more than 95,000. So we understand that the collateral damage of COVID-19 pandemic is an extraordinary public health, economic, but also social, security, and geopolitical crisis. It needs the integration of multiple global policy framework and a coordinated response. This section about the public policy in Indonesia timeline. The first Ministry of Health declaration released on 4th of February, and then followed by the National Disaster Management Agency on the 28th of February on the declaration of special emergency situation of COVID-19 epidemic disaster in Indonesia. And then followed by the President of Indonesia to form the task force for rapid response to COVID-19. It is the presidential decree on the 13th March of 2020. The first case, it appears on 2nd of March, which the release of the first case COVID-19, and then followed by other Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance decree, and also the National Police, Ministry of Finance, President of Indonesia, the revision of the previous declaration to refocusing on activities. Also including the Ministry of Village, Regional Disadvantage and Transmigration, Ministry of Communication and Information. And also the 31st of March, President of Indonesia National Budgeting Policy. And will follow, and then after that follow by Ministry of Health, and also Ministry of Industry, Ministry of Transportation, and other ministerial. So I would like to share about disaster regulations in Indonesia. We have the Disaster Management Act released in 2007, and then we have the number 4 Act 1984 about the Pandemic Emergency Act, and also the Health Quarantine Act number 6, 2018. We have the Military Emergency, this is the Act, and also the Act for Financial Emergency, and we have the Energy Emergency, which released 2007, and Food Emergency, and also the Social Conflict Emergency Act. So we adopted the International Health Regulation in 2005, a binding international legal agreement involving 196 countries across the globe, including all the member states of WHO, with the purpose of prevent, to protect against, control, and provide a public health response to the international spread of disease in ways that are commensurate with and restricted to public health risks. It is suggested that containment at source is the most effective way to secure maximum protection against international spread of diseases. The key is to limiting unnecessary health-based restrictions on trade and travel. Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, adopted at the 3rd UN World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction in Sendai, Japan on March 18, 2015, have the aims to enhance national and community capacity to cope with disaster risk. It is also address a comprehensive approach to address multiple hazards, including technological, biological, and environmental that impact at different scales, frequency, and intensity. WHO has released in 2019 about the Health Emergency and Disaster Risk Management Framework. So this approach to combine between the health emergency and disaster risk management framework, it is a systematic analysis and management of health risks posed by emergency and disaster. Health EDRM cover the emergency and disaster medicine, health systems and resilience, disaster risk reduction, humanitarian response, and community resilience. This section is about the mitigation, changes in society and business approach. So in Indonesia, we adopt the technology in the healthcare, including the use of digital tech, using the technology like AI, chatbots, voice search, or VR, and also home testing and telemedicine. While in mitigating the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, we also adopted the public health measures along with the business continuity plan. Both can go along together as far as we plan for the public health measures and as well as the business continuity plan. The concept of business continuity for gradual disruption, this is the example that without the business continuity, the mitigating, responding to, and management impact will be very long and also taken longer and have the impact more than worse. But with business continuity, resumption of activities at acceptable capacity with acceptable time will be a shortened disruption. Learning from industry, BCP implementation in Indonesia, Ministry of Manpower has released business continuity instruction letters for all workplace to implement this. Most of oil and gas sectors has used BCP to keep their business continuity. It is required by SK Chemigas for the company to submit their emergency response plan, crisis management plan, and business continuity plan, and also to conduct drill to ensure BCP is implemented and integrated with ERP and CMP. I would like to share in this section about Indonesia experience at national and provinces level for COVID-19 prevention and control. So learning from the history, learn from Dutch India's government. When Spanish flu spread the Netherlands Indias, there are several suggestions from the government, including the doctor from the health department to socialize about the Spanish flu. The use of masks consisting of 4 layers of cloth, and then a book that about influenza that written in Javanese language and letters, and including to use the traditional puppet, or we call wayang, to socialize about the Spanish flu. So at the moment, the leadership and institutional response during the pandemic in Indonesia include the use of application Indonesian government form gugus tugas or task force for handling COVID-19 through the mainstream media using the application called BLC or Bersatu Lawan COVID-19 that can get access to official information from the government easily. Learning from Aceh province, one of the local wisdom in Aceh is to put the water in bowl in front of their house, and also the community empowerment with 1 million masks. Other local wisdom from Central Kalimantan, including the use of bajakah roots and leaves as a medical plants for Dayak ethnic community, which can also increase immunity. Not only bajakah roots and leaves, Dayak onions are also medical plants, which can also increase immunity. In conclusion, collateral damage of pandemic COVID-19 can be mitigated through a coordinated response and multiple policy at local, national, regional, and global level. Public health and business continuity can go along together by implementing public health measures and business continuity management. Technology helps us to mitigate the collateral damage of pandemic COVID-19 while continuing our activities with a more creative and innovative ways. Thank you very much for your attention. We will get through this. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.